There's something that's going on in the world that is really moving me, because I believe that we are experiencing the earth shaking and rocks falling, that we see brokenness, and sometimes we feel brokenness within ourselves, do we not? And what we are witnessing, if we're watching, are mountains being moved. That something is happening in our world. Something is happening in our experience of this life, because there are a group of individuals who are willing to say no more. There are a group of individuals who are willing to proclaim never again. Never again. There's a group of individuals who are willing to allow their voice to be heard in a most magnificent way. And it's building. And people are listening. Do you know who I'm talking about? Do you guys know who I'm talking about? The youth who have organized the March for Your Life. March for Your Life. Make no mistake about it, what we are witnessing, what we are watching is for us. This is for us. Regardless of what you believe the topic is about, and I'm honoring what the topic is about for them, for all of us, but I want to talk about what the energetic of it is. I want to talk about what the line in the sand is. I want us each today not to leave here without drawing a line in the sand of your life, where you say to yourself, the small self, where you say to the ego aspect of yourself, where you say to the shooter in your life, because you've got one in your life. You've got one that's menacing your life. You have one that is shooting up all of your concepts and ideas of the truth of who you are, and it's been going on for eons and eons and eons. And it's the time for us now to say, never again, no more. To vote them out. To vote them out of your life and out of your mind, now and forevermore. To say that they work for you. These are the chants that I heard as I watched the youth, primarily from the Parkland incident, but it was all over the country, the March for Life. Did anybody march locally? Yes, yes, wonderful. All right, we're joining you next time, all right? We have one hand raised, but we're gonna join you next time. But there comes a time when we have to become fed up. And I believe that is what I was seeing, what we have been seeing. And the youth are leading us in this. And I believe that it is the youth that are leading us in this particular march for our lives, is because they have a certain fearlessness that we always don't have, that we sometimes don't have when we mature in life, when we become so conditioned and accustomed to our way of being, to the way that things ought to be, or perhaps even disheartened. But that there's a fearlessness combined with a passion of saying no more that I am witnessing, that is inspiring me in this conversation today. And so when I say to you that there's a shooter in your life, that there is a violence that is going on in your life, I'm not talking about something yet that has outpictured in the world. I'm talking about the own voice within your own mind and your own consciousness. The voice that tells you you can't. The voice that tells you you're not good enough. The voice that would squeeze the life out of you. The life of your purpose of awakening to the magnificence, the light, and the grandeur that you each are, that we are each a part of. And that we are being beckoned and called to. We know the call, we hear the call, we feel the call, and yet we allow the blockages to get in the way of our actually answering the call and actually, once and for all, being that which we said that we're here to be, the light and love of God, the light and love of Spirit. And so when I hear the youth, when I hear the chants of never again, I would like for each of us to incorporate that within our own awareness, to begin to be bold and to say what is so, to look at what is happening in our lives, to look at the voices that are running us, and to begin to view that as an assault upon who we are, to take it that seriously, to say no more. No more. Never again do you have a voice in my life. Never again does the voice of fear, of lack, of limitation, of sin or sickness have a voice in my life anymore. Never again. And vote them out. They work for you, folks. They work for you. You voted them in at some point. You voted them in at some point and allowed them to legislate your life. And now is the time for you to vote them out. And how do you vote them out? You don't give them power anymore. You don't give them attention anymore. You don't allow it. You call forth love in its stead, in its place. Know that each of those voices that are going to take you down, and they will, if you allow them, if you vote them in, if you give them attention and time, each of those voices will dissipate and disappear when you stop feeding them, when you stop giving them attention. It's time to march for your life. And you do it every time you wake up in the morning. It's time to march for your life now. It's time for you to take a stand for the truth of who you are, magnificent beings. Now, we say that we want to change. We say we want to change. We talk about it all the time, too. I really want to change. I want to change. And we tell each other, I want to change. And what do we say to each other? My thoughts and prayers are with you. My thoughts and prayers are with you. Now, do you ever wonder why we do that? Why we say that? Because we don't know what else to do or say sometimes, right? And because we're told that everything begins with our thoughts and with our prayers. But thoughts and prayers without following some sort of divine guided action and being amount to nothing. But likewise, acting without having thought and prayed first creates a lot of misery too. We have a trifecta going on here. We can do our thoughts, we can do our prayers, but then we must ask for the divine guidance then. What is ours to do? And we listen. And we become willing fearlessly, because it's not me, it's not the personality of yourself that moves those mountains. It is through aligning with our thoughts and our prayers with the thought of God, of love, of power, of that fearlessness can come, that we may then know what is ours to do in the world. And so this is a time where we're merging together all of these ideas, and we're seeing it out picturing in our world. We're seeing a change coming. And you pray for change a lot. You think about change for a lot, and then you become still and you wait and you listen, and you're guided on what to do. It takes a willingness to move your feet and to act. Because when you really invite change, expect it to happen. And when change happens, nothing else will be the same again. So are you willing to let go of the comfort of the known? For the uncertainty, perhaps, of the unknown, but certain in spirit? Are you willing to let go of everything in your life as you know it? for that change to come forth. This community is going through a change right now. And it is, as I have often said, all the time I say this, because each moment is the perfect ashram for our awakening. Each moment, everything is absolutely perfect if we allow it to be the source of our awakening. That everything is a stepping stone, not a tombstone. And so we practice what we teach here. And in the practicing of what we're teaching, a call came, and I answered another call, and things are changing. And that's hard. That can be very hard. Although last week we talked about changing our idea about change and beginning to welcome it as something exciting, as something new, as something relevant. But I got to tell you right now, moving Claudia and Tony from point A to point B is messy. It's messy. The kitchen's not there anymore. The dining room table is gone. Clothes aren't in boxes. Things are being let go of. It feels really messy and uncomfortable. But it's really good for us. Because each moment of discomfort, each moment of disorganization in the outer world gives us the opportunity to remember who moves the mountains, where our source is, where the power comes from. It reminds us not to be attached to the world of appearances. The world of appearances also includes forms, like roles that we play, releasing a role. The seemingly releasing of a relationship feels awfully uncomfortable at times, breaks your heart at times. But this is where we hold on and we remember that we are not alone, that there's that power and that strength within us. That one that moves mountains, that one not being far off from us, but being within us, as we align and remember the truth of who we are. As we begin to say to ourselves, no more am I going to entertain thoughts of error. No more am I going to entertain thoughts of sickness, of sin, of death. What if today the line of demarcation is if we just believed what we have been told, that you are as God created you to be? What if we just took that one thing and said that from this moment forward, I am going to walk in the world as if I know that God and I are one, that I am as God created me, that I am spirit. Yes, I have this temporary form that I am experiencing now, but my life is eternal. It goes on now and forevermore. The love that I experience with you is now and forevermore. It does not go away. It does not diminish, though the form may change. The stuff, the dining room, the living room is stuff. What is birthed in time ends in time, but what is eternal is our experiences of love. And so what if we move forward from this day forward, that line of demarcation? Oh yeah, God and I are one. I'm spirit, eternal now and forevermore. And it is done as I decree, as a son, as a child, as an emanation of God. My word is my power. And I say no more. No more to limitation, no more to limitation. No more. Today is Palm Sunday. in the Christian calendar. So today is the day of the maturity of Jesus's ministry. It marks that era just before the teacher must leave. Walking into Jerusalem, coming into Jerusalem, which represents the habitation of peace, and the crowds cheering him on. The same crowds that later will say, "Crucify him." But having a mission nonetheless, being unmoved by the crowds, by people pleasing in any way. That it is a triumphant entrance of the Christ consciousness. And one of my pet peeves since I've been a minister has been, are we just going to keep repeating the stories over and over and over again as the calendar goes and goes? Or are we going to get the story, the meaning of the story alive within us, that it wasn't about something that happened, but it's something that's alive now? Are we going to get it and allow our ministry to mature? Because when the teacher leaves, there is a choice. There is a choice. Am I going to stand up and in the teaching that has been given and embody the lessons? Or am I going to keep looking to the past and let somebody else do it for me? This is a high call. They say that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And at some point, the teacher must leave the student. And the teacher in this story is about to leave the students. And we'll discuss next week about how that went. And how they were able to remember and practice and act from the mastery that was taught. You know, folks, if that's all that can be remembered from our time together and embodied, I would be so happy. I already am so happy because something wonderful happened here and is happening here and continues to unfold. I love you. I love what we have done together, who we have been together. It's been magnificent. It's been unprecedented. I've never experienced anything like it. People are coming up to me now when they know that you're leaving. People tell you things that they might not otherwise tell you about your experience together. And somebody said, "Do you know how loved you are?" I said, "Yeah, I know, but I didn't know. I didn't know exactly." And I know Tony and I have both felt this over the last several weeks. But what we know is that we walk forth being the ministers that we are. That you've been taught everything I know to date. It keeps unfolding, right? Right? So now is the time to walk forth in your ministry on the palm-strewn path that is for you. To stand up and be the magnificence that you already are. And you'll call forth more teachers. You already have. The call's already gone out, so fear not. This is a time like the youth leading these marches for fearlessness. It is the time to feel what you feel. Make no mistake, they feel what they're feeling. You see it. You see tears, you see anger, but they're together. And they triumph over that by saying no more. They triumph over that, as do we, by saying no more. And by standing up through our thought and through our prayer and allowing Spirit to move the mountains in our lives. This is a magnificent time. This is the time just prior to rising, the resurrection, rising in consciousness to being made new. This is a time of celebration. Make no mistake about it. And so we celebrate together the unfolding journey of us all in our awakening. If we get that God and I are one, if we get that we are as God created us, that we are spirit, unlimited, that it is done as we decree by our word, if we get this, then there is no possibility for you to be without love. If we really get that, there's no possibility for you to be alone ever. You are not alone ever. It is not possible for you to ever taste death. If you get that you and God are one, that you are spirit unlimited, it is not possible for you to taste death or to taste genuine loss. You may experience it in the human realm, but the truth of who you are cannot. It is not possible for you to suffer the dream of separation. What this means is that you may be in the dream of separation because of your own choosing, but you need no longer suffer in it because you know who you are. You know that you called this experience forth for your unfoldment, to remember that you and God are one. Oh yeah, I'm as God created me. I'm unlimited spirit. It is done as I decree. I repeat myself a lot because the truths, the nuggets are simple. They're there. We must repeat them, apparently, until we embody them and get them and consume them with love. If we get this, we will never experience being apart from our Creator. And guess what? You can't fail. You cannot fail in this. And hear this. I want you to hear this one. It is not possible for you to harm anything or anyone. Let yourself off the hook. Forgive yourself for all of those ways that you believe that you have harmed somebody, hurt somebody. That is not within your power. It is not possible for you to be guilty of sin. Not possible. So we should breathe together a divine breath. Those statements on the heels of knowing who you are must be true. It's mathematical. It's an axiom. If A, then B. If A, I am as God created me, eternal, spirit, now and forevermore, loving, lovable, now and forevermore, innocent and pure, then everything that I just said must be true, must follow, and we must see ourselves therefrom. This has been our ministry together. This has been our ministry together. And so, yes, we hold the highest thoughts. Yes, we pray. And in the sanctuary of your own being, in the secret place of the Most High in your heart, you ask Spirit, what is the truth? What is mine to do? What is mine to say? If anything. And you pray for the willingness to allow Spirit to move through you, to move the mountains, so that you then understand there are no mountains in truth and reality, that you are free. So I want you to repeat this if you can, to go within the sanctuary of your own heart, because I do intend that a line of demarcation happens now, happens in this community, happens by each of you. Now, from this moment on, I'll repeat it once, but I'm going to ask you to say it with me. Now, from this moment on, I will no longer tolerate error in myself. No more games, no more dreams. I am committed to being only the presence of love, for that is the truth of who I am. Take a breath, perhaps the eyes closed if you wish, hand before the heart. Now, repeat after me. Now, from this moment on, I will no longer tolerate error in myself.
I will no longer tolerate error in myself.
No more games. No more dreams. I am committed to being only the presence of love. For that is the truth of who I am. Take a breath. Have a moment, a silent tryst in the sanctuary of your heart with Spirit. Feel the vibratory field. Invite the angels, guides, Spirit, God, Jesus, Buddha, to join with you. Yeah, join with you now. And in the words of Howard Thurman, we keep fresh before us this moment of high resolve, that as we go forth from here, that the dullness and bareness of the days that pass, to remember this moment, to remember this moment where you stood up for your life, where you said no more, where you proclaimed the truth of who you are. Imagine a line in the sand in your mind's eye, and imagine crossing over it now. Imagine feeling free of the burden of what you've been holding, of what you've been allowing to legislate your life. Celebrate having voted it out. Celebrate who you are in this Christ consciousness. And then this week together we walk the palm-strewn pathway of Christ consciousness. And we continue our conversation next week as we rise in this consciousness together.
I want to thank you. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Every day